All right, we're back, um, and there were a couple of things we missed from the first one, or that I missed. So we're going to repair those, which is always a good thing to know how to do. So we've got our variable selected, and we're going to click on that, and we're going to call this infection duration. Okay, and notice how this thankfully automatically updated when we changed our name. Thank you. Didn't used to do that. That's pretty cool. And then the other thing when we look back at our model that I forgot was incubation time. So we're going to add that variable right here, and it's going to be incubation time. Now what that means is how long it takes from the time you've been exposed till you actually start showing symptoms. You have different rates of this. This is why this coronavirus that we're dealing with right now is, or if you're watching this after it's over, that we were dealing with from December of January 19 to, well, not sure how long it's going to go. Let's hope it's shorter rather than later. So now what we need to do is go through and do our connections. Whack the save button again, and we're going to grab our arrow, and we're going to connect the infection duration to the infection rate. We're going to connect the susceptible fraction to the infection rate, and we're going to connect the infection rate to the infecting. Initial population gets connected to susceptible. Initial population gets connected to the susceptible fraction. All right. And susceptible, to complete our triangle, gets connected here. So we have our circle here instead of it looping into an infection here, it goes up and completes this circle here. Now incubation time goes into advancing, exposed goes into advancing. All right, infecteds, once out there, once here. And this isn't really necessary. We could have gone all the way from infected to infecting. This puts a auxiliary variable here in one spot. And the reason we're putting that there is when I show you a much more complete model, we will be trying to manipulate that. Policy models think that we can, social distancing, etc., quarantines, make that active infected much lower. So we'll feed some variables in there in a more advanced model to make that. So so the fatality rate is going to feed in here, and the infection duration is going to also feed in there. And the fatality rate feeds into the infected. And yeah, I'm going to grab that with the hand and move it just because no reason other than I think it will look better down here for now given my messing up of the model. I'm not very good at drawing these things. There we go. All right, we're going to bounce back over and look at our model one more time. Does that look like we have everything? We have fatality, infection duration connected to both. Infection duration has not been connected to here yet. All right. So I think that completes our model. I'm going to bounce back over and look to see if our infecteds are the ones who die. And so we have to connect those here into our recovering. And There's a reason I make them red, right? That makes it easier. These are sort of people moving, and we'll go through and we'll make those red here in a moment. It looks slightly different just because of the way I drew it. We're going to save it here. I'm at 5 minutes. We're good here. So before I parameterize it, I want all things that are actually people moving to be red or involve people moving. So I'm going to get right on there, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to select red and OK. I'm going to do that. If I accidentally end up with one, go up and delete it. So back to my arrow. When I see the hand and I right click, then I can click on the color and change it to red. All right, that's actually people moving. And this doesn't change any of the activity of the arrows at all. I'm just changing the colors here so I see them better. It makes it easier to see a little bit for aesthetics in your model. And we could change these forward arrows here as well. Remember, you got to let the little red hand come up. Or you'll end up with an arrow. All right. And so finally we have this color-coded. And our model setup is done. Now we need to go through and parameterize this with a set of, quote, reasonable parameters that we've seen from the internet, from the news, from the talking heads, from everybody out there. We're right here at